Here now for the second day of the cleanup of this headstone for one of my 32 great-great-great-grandfathers, Samuel Broomfield, although it's spelt Broomfield on the marker. He's buried here with his wife Sarah, maybe she was Sally, and my great-great-grandmother Mary Cuthbert, who died aged 38 years in 1839. The stone is leaning up against the side of the tower, and we don't know quite where they are in the graveyard, but they are somewhere here. So we'll have a little go at another cleanup. As before, I'm just going to brush some of the loose stuff off it. You use a circular motion rather than up and down or side to side, because you don't want any striations on the actual stone. Okay, so having given it a brush, we're now going to use this specialised headstone cleaner D2, which is guaranteed not to harm the stone, but will at the same time kill any lichen and moss that's on there. It smells of chlorine. You don't want to breathe it in too much. Look how just being wet it brings out the colours in the stone. You can read the inscriptions more easily. Now we'll just leave that for a few minutes, let it soak in, and then I'll give it a wash down and another brush. Sam here, and Sarah, and indeed Mary, for most of their lives the king was George III, and they would have known that even out here in the wilds, where the squire kept them poor and the priest kept them scared, and the schoolmaster, if there was one, kept them ignorant. Although all three believed they were doing their very best, I'm sure. And George III, for the last 9 years of his life, 10 years of his life, from about 1811, was mentally incapacitated. So George IV ruled as Prince Regent. Now George IV was a different kettle of fish. Unlike his father, Farmer George, this man was rather extravagant and dissolute and fashion conscious, and he had the most appalling death due to his own inability to pace himself. George III was the first English king of his house to speak English as his first language and to have been born here. His father was German, of course, House of Hanover, and was the last English king to fight alongside his troops. I'm using a bamboo kebab cane here to pick out some of the lichen that's got into the lettering. It won't harm the stone, and it's a useful little tool. This black stuff's very hard to get off. Okay, well, having sprayed it, I'll give it another scrub and we'll just see if we can get any of this to shift. You can see how it's blurring it. That's the top surface coming off. This black, rather hard to shift lichen. And now, having done that, we'll give it another spray, and you can see the colour coming back through. You don't want to be doing a job like this in very cold weather. The frost can cause enormous damage. We are. That's as much as I'm going to do to this one, really, for the next few months. I'll come back in a few months and We'll see if that D2 has done any more work on it, but you can see it's a lot cleaner and a lot better than it was when I started, so I'm happy with that.